It got a little chilly the other night, so I actually had to bring everything small off the side porch in. So here is an interesting flower that we got from a local greenhouse. Its petals are the texture of paper. It's super cool. This is what they look like when they're fully bloomed. And they feel so neat. They feel like paper flowers. And that's just how they grow. And here is some spicy glow basil, doing very well. And then in the window, this is something that I did for the winter to start the plants inside because even our sunroom doesn't get all that warm. So I got a little cheap shelving unit at one of the Dollar Tree or dollar store, and I put the smaller plants when they started under it because the cat likes to sit on the window and I didn't want her eating everything. So over here we have cilantro. We have a tomato plant that didn't quite make it, and we have 2 more green onions. Then up top we have an amaryllis from Christmas, parsley that's doing all right, more spicy glow basil, lavender, and spinach that's about done. Now these 2 varieties of lavenders, this is French provincial, so that's normally what you find. And then this is called Lady Lavender, and it's a little bit different. So super excited for that. Can't wait to get some lavender on. So for the last week or so, I've been watering everything every day. But since it rained really good yesterday, everything's good and soaked, so I don't have to water anything today. And here we have a couple of eggplants. This is one of our squash that actually made it from seed, but I'm not sure what kind of squash it is. Terrible, I know. Then this is a blueberry plant that I actually got from Tractor Supply Company, and it's got a blueberry on it. It's doing much better than the ones I got out of the catalog, so I really don't have an answer for why the ones that I got from the catalog don't do well. The 2 I got last year didn't make it either, yet this one's fine under the same conditions, so I really don't know what to say about that. And then we have another one of our Italian sweet peppers that is starting to bud. Super excited. Those are all doing really well. We've got our store-bought rosemary doing well. And then I thought this bucket was empty and I was going to reuse the soil for other plants. And then this little guy started popping up. At first I thought it was one of my gherkin cucumbers, but I'm starting to think it's one of my beans. So super excited to get a volunteer that way. And then this is for my husband. When we went to the greenhouse, I got that flower that you saw inside that has the beautiful orange and red colors, and he just fell in love with this. This is a star flower, and I don't know how well the color shows up, but it's this lovely kind of purplish blue, almost like a cornflower color. And it is just taking off and doing super well. So if the weather keeps warm the next couple of nights, warm enough for, seedling weather, so 60 degrees or above, then I'll bring out the rest of the stuff that I had to move in, the smaller plants. They'll come back out on this porch with their brothers and sisters. All right, let's go take a look at the garden. We have the blueberry plants, which are still not doing too good. It rained really heavy yesterday, so everything's pretty wet, but that one, I'm tempted to move it out of that pot and see if I can't rejuvenate it, but usually when they get that bad, they're just done. And this one's kind of going the same way, so I'm a little worried about my blueberries. Really need to figure out how to save them. I guess this is the opportunity for Google. And then in the bin, we are actually now getting flowers on the little half pint pea, and it's kind of growing into the the green onions. So should probably train that to go the other way. Yes, there we go. See how the little tendrils just kind of latched on? They're not really gripping, they just kind of hooked on there, so it's just kind of holding the bamboo like this. And if you keep it in that position, if we don't get a strong wind or anything, those will actually curl around and stabilize the plant. So I'll keep my eye on that. But the green onions, as you can see, are doing crazy. They're ready to be cut again. And the leeks are actually getting some body to them. Oh, there's a weed. Actually getting some body to them, so that's good. And this stuff is obviously weeds and nothing I planted, so I just need to pull the weeds out of this when I get the chance. Now let's go over to the side porch and I'll show you what's over there. Alright, here is the garden. I updated our row markers so you can actually tell where the rows are and they're properly labeled instead of stand-ins. I don't have one for the back end for the peas, but that's all the same thing, so I know it's there, so that's fine. And as you can see, everything's doing pretty well. Garlic is still doing crazy good. Marigolds are doing well. My eggplants over here are doing well. Something's been nibbling on them, but not too bad. The tomatoes look a little blah today, but it's probably from all the heavy rain. And then the peppers are doing well. The Brussels sprouts, I think I might have to pull a few of the bottom leaves off. I'll get over there and show you guys. It looks like they're maybe not being burnt, but they're definitely changing color and something's nibbling on them. So that's what they look like. So they're kind of turning purple and brown and something's nibbling on them, but the inner leaves look fine. In fact, that one is just doing gorgeous. Super excited to get some Brussels sprouts this year. And over here, poor kohlrabi. You can see right there, one of them's like completely gone. And the other one's struggling on. I've been sprinkling them with diatomaceous earth and something's still chewing on them. Can't quite figure that one out. Poor things. The ones in the straw bales are doing a little bit better. I'll show you guys that in a second. And then over here, we've got more Romas. So they're doing pretty well. They didn't take the transplant nearly as well as the Rutgers in the row, but they're doing. So, ooh, and look, I didn't even see that yesterday. You see that? A bean's coming up. That's exciting. Oh my gosh. That is so awesome. So you guys got to see something before I even did. Alright, now let's go over here and check on the straw bales. We have tied some twine around the Romas here because they were leaning all the way over into the pepper, and that definitely wasn't good for them, and they seem to really perk up since we tied them up this weekend. So all I did was take a piece of twine and kind of loop it around between the two fences, and then I kind of took this extra piece just to kind of give a little bit of extra support. Not much, but just enough to give some structure. And then over here on our pepper, let me show you what we found. Yes, there we go. Focus. We've got a pepper started. So exciting. So we've got flowers on almost all of them. And this one's going, it's almost there. And then we've got a pepper started on this one. Super exciting. The eggplants over here are doing really good, even though something is nibbling on them, but not as much as the ones in the pot. Well, on this leaf a little bit. But when you turn around and look under it, there's like nothing there. So weird. And then that Rutgers is just, I mean, look at that stalk. It's gonna be a beast. So even though we think we've overplanted this bale, it's doing really good so far. And then over here, good news and bad news on the kohlrabi. Like I said, it's doing a little bit better than the ones in the garden. We actually have new growth. But the other one, I mean, it literally looks like something came and just like chomp to the ground. So sad. But we've still got one going, so that's good. So out of the 4 we planted, we've still got 2 going. That's, 50%, which is better than none. So hopefully that'll make it. I don't know what else to do with them. And then we have a whole bed of radishes. What happened here was actually kind of funny. There's supposed to be blue Scottish kale in the center, and the radishes were supposed to go on the side. But my husband, who's doing the straw bales, forgot about the kale and planted radishes all over the place. So I'm pretty sure all of these are radishes, but there might be little bits of kale that come up too. So that'll be fun to watch. We actually pulled a small radish yesterday, and it was really sweet. Like the ones we got last year out of the ground were super peppery, but the one we pulled out of the straw bale yesterday was really sweet. So excited to start harvesting those. Carrots are doing well. Leeks are doing well. They're not quite as good as the ones in the bin next to the house, but you can see it's got good structure. So I just think those probably have a long growing time, which is okay because they're more frost resistant than the other plants. So I think we might get them probably right before the first frost in October. So excited to see how those will go. And just look at these beautiful Brussels sprouts over here. Doing so awesome. We're definitely getting Brussels sprouts this year, and I'm so excited. Coming up with all kinds of recipes. Like last night, I made a bean soup, and I just threw in some leftover grilled Brussels sprouts. Oh, it was so good. So good. Tasted like an Irish stew. And anyway, what we've done here is, knowing that these will get bigger, since I had the twine out to do the Roma tomatoes, I just did kind of like a twine fence here. So as these get bigger, if I need to, I will string up a few more just for some extra support, because that hay bale is going to break down while everything's growing. So at the end of the season, the idea is that your hay bale is basically to the ground, a pile of dirt, and you've got compost started. So it's a really good sustainable idea for farming, especially if you're just doing a small garden like we are. So we can literally, after this is all done, scoop it up with a shovel and dump it over in our garden, and we've got our compost for next year, which is going to be amazing. All right, well, let's take a quick look at how the corn's doing, and that'll be our garden update. Now, with this bed, since we took a chunk out of the yard, I'm not going to be as vigorous with weeding it or even watering it. I did water it last week just because we didn't see any activity from the seeds. So I watered it every day last week when I did the stuff on the porch. But down here you can see that our seedlings that we got from the greenhouse, they're doing well. This one, I think the dog accidentally stepped on, but the other ones are doing very well. And then yesterday we noticed corn seedling. So we've got one coming up. That one might be one. And then there's also one over here. And you could tell it's corn because it's the only thing bugs have nibbled. But so that's what's going on there. Hopefully we'll get the corn going. When they get about half size, I'm probably going to go ahead and take measures against crows, because we do have a high population of blackbirds, which will probably consist of staking out like a garden sign with a couple of pie pans attached to it. They don't really like bright, flashy things next to their food source, so That's what a lot of people use as a deterrent. But it's a little putting the cart before the horse because, they've got to get a good 3 foot high before we can do that. So fingers crossed that everything's going to go well with the corn. And we'll see you again in a week or two for the update. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.